public hearing and regular meeting. Yeah, there's the two signed up so far for four.
Blake, you're on there for litter. Got it.
Years ago. Unless you don't have it.
It's me. Yeah.
Campaign, I said, unless you don't have it.
I can put that hat on my hat.
He's not related to the cook lady that worked for the city. That was the city.
The stipulations on rezoning from back the first time.
Did he come down and see?
Yeah, everybody's good. Martin, Hanson, they're all good.
Okay. Nobody for the public hearing. Okay.
All right. Before we retired school teacher, I think that was going to get this.
Just in case.
Buddy, you ready?
Sir.
Aaron?
Yes.
Okay.
No, hurry.
I'm going to call the Loudon County Commission workshop to order for February 17th, 2026. First up is public comments. First up is the Chief of the Tellico Village Fire Department, Jerry Doherty.
Mr. Mayor and Commissioners, I thank you for the opportunity to speak tonight. My name's Jerry Doherty. I've been a Loudon County resident for 22 years and a member of the Tellico Village Fire Department for 11 years. I'm serving my 7th year as the chief of the department. We are the newest department in the county. We just celebrated 25 years this past year. But yet we are the busiest of all fire departments in the county. Last year, we responded to 1,713 calls. 97 of those were in support of the other counties, the mutual aid calls to the county, other county departments. I would ask that that information be considered in the next appointment to the 911 board. Thank you.
Thank you, Jerry. I would support that if we have an opening, buddy. Okay. Blake Moore.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Blake Moore, and I'm a resident of Loudon County. I'm excited that through the efforts of Lisa Benton and her family, as well as a few volunteers, including my wife and I, the roads in District 1 are getting cleaner every month. While the amount of litter is still discouraging, this volunteer effort is paying dividends. I'm hoping that the volunteer efforts will now be extended to include everyone recently appointed to the Litter Grant Committee, and Ms. Benton's crew will grow exponentially. To encourage participation, I ask that the resolution to appoint the new Litter Committee be publicly promoted by the county on its website and include a charter for actions to be taken. To ensure public buy-in, I would also ask that the prior and future expenditures related to the grants in Loudon County not only be available, but also promoted publicly in accordance with the Tennessee Public Records Act, TN Annotated Code 10-7-503. While I'm disappointed that Ms. Benton was not appointed to the committee, I have no doubt her efforts will continue, and she will be an integral part of the future success of the program. Again, let's all work together to make Loudon clean again. Thank you.
Thank you. Pat Hunter.
My Mayor, and I'd like to thank Coach Satterfield for bringing up the idea of being proactive about letting other organizations in the county know about the opioid settlement money and the programs, and making the community more aware about that, because that's the only way that we can help people that need the help. And by being proactive, putting it on the website, having a committee, making just the community aware of this program. We may find other programs that could benefit and help the people that need the help the most. So thank you, Coach. The other thing that I would like to talk about is the fact that we have someone who would like to serve on the 911 board, and you do have an opening. It is Commissioner Shaver will be reappointed, but I would like I would like for others to be considered, such as either someone that serves currently as a fire person, like Mr. James, or the Calico Village Fire Chief. I think that having people that serve in that service, I think it's a good thing to have on board. The other thing is, I would like to talk briefly about the legal. I'm very concerned about the amount of money that we're spending on legal services. I made a records request for the 1099s, and I was just amazed how much money we're spending. And I know that we have to protect the citizens and health and safety and welfare. But I think that some of the cases that have been lost have been because of the regulations, the loose regulations. We paid Kramer Racing in 2025, $396,012.09. Miss Murphy, $103,430 in 2025. Long Ragsdale and Waters, $34,978. That's just in 1 year. And, I understand that we need legal counsel. I also understand that sometimes it seems from my perspective that, for instance, with Republic, we still have the same complaints. And although they have made some concessions, we still have the same problems over and over and over again. And I hope those issues are addressed, but I'm also concerned about the amount of money that we're spending with few results. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, that concludes the general public comments. Jim Jenkins, you're up.
Thank you, Commission. Items A through D will all be a resolution amending the zoning map of Loudon County, Tennessee, pursuant to Chapter 7, 13-7-105 of Tennessee Code Annotated, with item A being to rezone from A1 Agricultural Forestry District to A3 Developing Agricultural District, Loudon County Tax Map 39, Parcel 151, located at 2350 Robinson Road, Loudon County, Tennessee, situated in the 1st Legislative District. This will be for approximately 3 lots on this development. It was recommended.
Okay. B.
This will be rezoned from A2 Rural Residential District to A3 Developing Agricultural District, Loudon County Tax Map 57, parcels 212 and 213, located at 4341 Sticky Creek Road, Loudon County, Tennessee, situated in the 4th Legislative District, approximately 1 2-acre lot. And it was recommended by the Planning Commission.
No comments? C.
This will be to rezone from A2 Rural Residential District to C2 General Commercial District, Loudon County Tax Map 27, Parcel 137, located at 8301 Jackson Bend Road, Loudon County, Tennessee, situated in the 3rd Legislative District, and was recommended by the Planning Commission.
Is that C?
Yes, sir.
If y'all are not in a big hurry, I have a couple of questions I'd like to ask you after the meeting tonight. Just some folks that had some questions for me. I just won't take but just a minute or two if you don't mind.
D,
This would be to amend the storage unit stipulation to allow office retail on a portion of property. All other stipulations to remain in place. C2, General Commercial District, Loudon County Tax Map 7, Parcel 62, located at 19666 Highway 11, Loudon County, Tennessee, situated in the 5th Legislative District, and was recommended by Planning Commission.
Mr. Chairman, briefly on this one, I've spoken to Mr. Mullins, the attorney representing this, the community up there. And all this actually is, and Jim and I had a little disagreement, of course I lost on that one. All we're doing is changing the front operation. It was gonna be all use storage, and now the front portion of the property is going to be a small retail anchored by a small, or a dentist office. All of the other regulations that were passed on with this, still the buffers are all in place, 25 feet, the whole 9 yards. Is that all correct, Mr. Mullins? So as it stands right now, the community's good, we're good, so please do something. 5 years we've been dealing with this piece of property, but we're good to go.
Or an old stage.
Yes, Old Stage 11.
right there in 11. E,
And this will be rezoned from A2 Rural Residential District to R1 Suburban Residential District, Loudon County, Tax Map 28, Parcel 3.01, located at 3420 Paris Drive, Loudon County, Tennessee, situated in the 6th Legislative District. It was recommended by Planning Commission. This was tabled for information a few months ago. The gentleman has had some plats and some documents that presented that shows that he is able to actually subdivide, get a buildable area on the lot and septic on this lot.
no comments? We'll see you on March 2nd for the commission meeting. They'll be on the agenda.
Thanks, sir. Have a good evening.
Mayor Bradshaw.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Item A under my name is the resolution. I'd like to send Nashville a resolution, our legislature, that would continue retired officers to serve as SROs in school. This would impact not just Loudon County Sheriff's Office. I know Lenore City, Lenore City Police Department as well uses at least one retiree and SROs. I don't think it would go away, but this would just show that we support it not going away. And I can draft that up and send it out to the commission prior to sending it to y'all.
How many retired officers do we currently have as SROs?
I know of at least two, one for the county and one for Lenore City. Maybe more than that, I'm not sure.
You need a resolution to be approved on March 2nd?
Please. If the commission's good with it, if I send it out, I can go ahead and send it and we'll vote on the, so our commission chooses. Or we can do it on March. The vote's coming up pretty quick, so I'd like to go ahead and send it out. If there's no objection from commission, I'd like to just go ahead and send that out.
I don't have an objection.
Thank you.
Okay.
B, boards, committees, first the 911 board, would be a renewal of Sheriff Davis, Mr. Shaver, and Chief Harrison. Chief Doherty is, where you go? He'll leave, did he?
Yeah.
Certainly open to that. Historically, this is not, like I said, these are typically law enforcement. We've historically always had a commissioner on that board. I think Commissioner Mears did it for years and years and years.
Yes,
So it'd be my recommendation to bring to commission on the second.
okay, it'll be there.
And then item number 2 is the solid waste, would be renewal of Commissioner Waller as well as Dr. Stephen Bartell. This is a 6-year term for the solid waste commission. I'll bring those on the second.
Okay. They'll all be on the 2nd.
Buddy, I got a question. On the 911 board, is it 4-year or 3-year term?
They're staggered, and I think they're 4 years.
Thought they were staggered 3 years.
Don't know.
Hold on just a second. You got a copy, Terrence?
Our John Napier, Chairman of the Loudon County Planning Commission. Glad to have you on board.
Good to be here.
4-year.
Thank you.
Okay,
No questions, that's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
okay. Commissioner Quillen.
Yes, we have been all around this custodian contract. I know I brought it up at least a year ago, January of '25. Getting a lot of complaints about the unsanitary, unacceptable conditions. Last January, I think we were gonna give the current custodial staff 60 days and review it again, and in July, we were gonna bid it back in October, and October, I don't know if any bids went out, and then December, I was told they were working on the language of the bid, and here we are in February, and we're still spinning our wheels trying to get something done with this, and I don't know what the resolution is. Are we bidding it? Do I need to do something to fix this? Let me know.
Director Kleinschmidt, he'll get with the providers, the contractors, and they'll do better for a little bit, and it's hit or miss, very much so. A lot of times seems more miss than anything. He's looking at a new bid. Keep in mind that it'll be more, but you get what you pay for sometimes as well. He is working on it, and hopefully, like I said, it doesn't happen overnight, because there is a termination notice we have to serve current. And so, he's out of town this week. I will be glad to talk with him, probably Monday when he gets back to work, and, I think it's time.
Now, this,
It's more than time. It's bad. It's just terrible.
this is just the county buildings. Can you run down the list of what our county buildings consist of? Courthouse,
Where's the complaint coming from?
This building.
I think it's just this building where the complaint's coming from.
Senior Citizen Center as well.
Oh, yeah, that's correct.
so this building,
Senior Citizen Center, county office building,
courthouse,
I think so. I'll double check that. I know the sheriff's department has their own.
Our office.
Courthouse is on there as well, part of this, here, part of the head end. And maintenance building.
how about the county clerk? The county clerk's office in Lenore City, the satellite office,
Yeah.
is that one of ours?
Yes.
Okay, all the offices in this building, courthouse, county building,
Senior.
now is that, all that's that include, is education do theirs and we do our
They're
part?
separate.
They're separate,
Mhm.
and that's it, that's,
I personally, of course, it's neither here nor there, I hate contract. I would just soon have a couple of full-timers, and depending on, we'll see what it comes in, because if we're gonna pay more, I would rather have a couple of full-timers, a couple of part-timers.
I think that would be
There's
great.
better control that way.
You would have better control. Absolutely.
There's no such thing as a couple, you'll have to have 5.
Well,
2 won't do it. One's out sick, one's gone, one can't get here, I mean, nothing's being done.
2 full-time and 2 part-time, I think,
Yeah.
would be worthy of a conversation at another time.
Do you know what the
Okay.
cancellation agreements are on our current
Typically
contract?
90 days.
that doesn't negate
60
the
to
fact
90
that something
days.
needs to be
Maybe a
done.
30-day, but with this one, probably not like. I can pull the contract.
oh. Yeah, but I would like to pursue something, a solution, whatever it is. If it's hiring people full-time or getting a new contract, but this has gone on, I think, way too long.
Frustrating, absolutely.
Thank you.
All right. Commissioner Shaver.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. If you'll look at the overhead, I like that. We have a situation in Lenore City, similar to what we had in 2022. The parcels, the 5 parcels outlined in blue are in the city. They belong to Summertown Metals out of Summertown, Tennessee. Summertown apparently bought the little section, 2 point some odd acres, maybe more, I forget what it is, that's marked in red. And everybody by now is familiar with the urban growth boundary. The section marked in red is not in the urban growth boundary, just like the situation in 2022. I do know city officials have been informed that that's not in the urban growth boundary. Not a big deal. We have the 2005 interlocal agreement. All the city/property owner has to do is come here and ask us to allow them to have that included into their property and the urban growth boundary, and then the city can annex it. We did it in 2005 for William Farnham, same thing. We We have a system in place. Probably just because I have this reported isn't gonna gain anybody anything. But here's how we avoid these costly lawsuits we heard about last night, or earlier tonight. We sent letters. Bob Bowman contacted the city in 2022. We sent multiple letters outlining all the problems and the issues. Got nothing. Left no options but lawsuits. This is again about preservation. This is again about precedent. How do you stand by and watch it be violated and not have a problem? I would love to ask if we want to have, Bob Bowman will not because of the conflict of interest. He can't contact them. To ask our annexation attorney just to send a simple letter to say, in case you all don't know, this is not an urban growth boundary and you cannot annex it without the county's approval. Other than that, I guess they'll do whatever they want to. Probably they'll do it no matter what they do, but this is just a heads up to everybody, and I would sure like to see it cut off at the pass before we have problems.
So you don't believe that Bob will send a letter?
Bob will not.
He cannot, it's conflict of interest.
The last time we went through this, Mayor Akins agreed to allow Bob to send the letter. And then we turned around and we sent the letter. Bob, Mayor Akins signed the letter, we signed the letter, and we were done. And I think this could be the same exact situation.
Bob just told me he couldn't do nothing.
So
Cause-
could we reach back out and say, we did it
I
8
can-
months ago?
yeah. Let me see what I can do.
All right. We're not voting on anything tonight, so if you can get
Okay.
something dealt with
Okay.
between now and our March meeting, we won't have to take any action. But does anybody here want another lawsuit?
Absolutely not.
No. Did anybody want the first lawsuit? No. But we have to protect our rights. We have no choice.
They have to follow the rules.
Absolutely. It's just that simple. Mr. Chairman, that's all I've got. Thank you.
Okay. Aaron, you're up.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. These items were recommended by the Budget Committee. There was a request to amend wage lines in the codes department. So essentially what's gonna happen is some money is gonna be pulled from an open position and placed from, I believe it's planning into codes. And that will allow for the remainder of the year an additional codes inspector to continue his employment. And then also an increase to the secretary, because now she's gonna be handling both planning and codes. Also, there was a request to purchase a vehicle from the Stormwater Reserve. In case you're not familiar with that reserve, we received that money multiple years ago, and currently the balance is $491,891. The vehicle request is $39,000. So the next consideration was prepaying one of our capital outlay notes. This particular note was $2.6 million and it was issued in 2022. Currently the principal is $1.9 million, but by paying this off out of the education rural debt service fund, it'll save us approximately $300,000 in interest, okay? We did discuss the meeting dates for the budget prep. We're gonna do them the same way that we did them last year, on Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays, beginning at 10 a.m. So anybody who's interested to come and sit in on those meetings, you're more than welcome at the county office building. This would make the first meeting scheduled for March 30th. So once I get the calendar ready, I'll send it out to all of you. And then there were amendments. So in the county general fund, the amendments will reduce the fund balance by $42,850. Most of this is line adjustments. It includes the vehicle that I referred to earlier. Let's see, anything else that would cause that. Anyways, the next one is courthouse jail maintenance fund 112. Overall, this is gonna be an amendment that will reduce the fund balance by $2,000. It's just to add a line in for trustees commission. And then there was amendments in special revenue federal drug fund 128. This was to add an equipment line, and it will reduce the fund balance by $3,693. There were amendments in Fund 131, but none of the amendments will have any bearing on the fund balance. In General Purpose School Fund 141, none of the amendments will have any bearing on the fund balance. In Federal Project School Fund 142, none of the amendments will have any bearing on the fund balance. And that's all that I have. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Hey, thank you, Aaron. Anything else? I will consider the commission workshop adjourned. I will now turn it over to Adam Waller, Chase Randolph, Bill Jeans, and Elizabeth Murphy.
Could we have a 5-minute break?
Yes.
We'll take a 10 minute, I'm gonna put the paper back out, if anybody wants to sign it.
No. I'm talking to you. We don't even need him to stay here with this.
I would like mine to be short. No. Steve's hack.
Derek? No. West, 3
I saw your thing about the actual address, and I messaged someone else who was on there, and tell us exactly. What address is it? Even on a map? Exit 72, and, sorry,
I figured I was doing it more than this. People were telling me to go drive a seat. I was like, I won't even ask for a chance. Where are you gonna start up again? I got a little protein bar with me.
I don't even know the categories that I did research this question. My one here is that something you're wanting to bring up? Well, I don't know if I should
Right there, just don't all this morning. She had a handful that big carrying on. I'm not lying.
It's hard to find. Please don't take them all at one meeting.
So making up for
She got 10 pounds this morning. Who's our sport? You know, we don't. You don't eat them all? Here, you have some great time here.
Get
Let's wait on the team to get back.
Okay.
She'll be back in there.
All right, we'll get started. First off, thank you all for being here tonight. It's good to see a good turnout. I want people to be informed. I prepared an opening statement just to keep my thoughts in order and kind of let everybody know how the meeting is going to be ran. We're holding this town hall meeting for the residents of Loudon County and more importantly for the families and property owners who live near the landfill. This is to have an open and honest discussion about the landfill rezone for a borrow pit to provide dirt to cover the existing cells and the Jackson Law. Over the past several weeks, there has been a great deal of conversation on social media. Unfortunately, most of that conversation has included misinformation and a false narrative about what is being proposed and what it means for our community. Tonight is about clearing the air. It's about the truth. Most importantly, it's about answering questions and making sure everyone has accurate information. This meeting is for you. We're going to conduct this meeting in an orderly and respectful manner. If you signed up to speak, we will call on you in the order you signed up. When your name is called, you can ask your question from your seat, and we will do our best to provide a clear answer. I respectfully ask that no one speak out of turn or talk over people. We want to hear every question, and we want every person to be heard. If anyone becomes disruptive or refuses to follow the guidelines, you will be asked to leave. We owe it to everyone here to maintain a productive and civil discussion. Again, thank you all for coming. I think Ms. Murphy is going to make a statement that may clear up some answers or provide some guidance.
Is this turn?
No,
Yeah.
it's,
You can come up here.
Come up here. That's what I'm saying.
Put you right there.
You can come up.
Okay. All right.
You had it on the first time.
Oh, push the button underneath.
I would like to complain about the technology first. Do you have a, can I use your mic?
I don't think they work.
Stretch over?
Turn it off.
I think we got technical problems under the bench
All
over
right,
here.
I'll just stand up and talk to y'all. Did it work?
It's
All right. I'll tell you what I know, and I'll tell you what I don't know. Oh, sorry, thank you. My name's Elizabeth Murphy, and I'm an attorney, and I've been practicing for over 30 years. I'd rather not say exactly how long. I started working for the commission after the 2022 amended agreement was signed. I came in after that with Ms. Hunter was the chairperson at the time. I think I've had 7 active landfill litigation suits. In all of those, I represented the party who was adverse in conflict with the landfill operator. I've sued Waste Management, I've sued Republic, I've sued small operators, I sued a large investment group. I was friends with the governor at the time. All of those suits were successful except for one. We don't need to talk about it. It was a small issue. I've had multiple cases on the Jackson Law, and my first case on the Jackson Law went all the way to the state Supreme Court. So I do have experience in this area, and I think I qualified for the job because I was the only person with a lot of landfill, both the technical, the rules, the statute, a lot of experience. I don't know everything. A lot of experience, but I hadn't ever worked for a landfilling company, and I still haven't. So, with that groundwork, first of all, I don't really know what the conflict is here, so I don't want to insult anyone. If you have a question, ask me. I'll do my best to answer it. But I can just address the two things that I was alerted to that I believe were on a Facebook post. There were two issues. The first one was a letter of preservation for the Jackson Law. Am I right? This is one of the people are upset about this somehow? Yes?
I think there's
saw
just,
that on Facebook.
I think there's confusion about what the Jackson Law is and what it does and allows the county to do.
Okay, so the Jackson Law, here's my quick speech that I gave to Metro Council in Nashville, because they wanted to pass the Jackson Law there. A Metro Council member asked me to come speak to them, so I did. And I told all of Metro Nashville, all the council members and the mayor, the following. If you have zoning, great, good. If you don't, you should definitely get the Jackson Law. If you do have zoning, you should still adopt the Jackson Law. Why? Because it's an uber zoning law that was miraculously passed in 1989 by the state legislature. A lot of people didn't want it. It came from Senator Jackson, who had the district out in Dixon, which is obviously east of Nashville. They had a horrible landfill situation out there that I know quite a lot about, some of which I will have to take to my grave, unfortunately. And he didn't want this to happen to other communities. The problem, core problem, is that TDEC has its authorizing statute that tells TDEC, you have control over the construction and the permitting of landfills and solid waste facilities. Your job is to make sure that it doesn't contaminate the groundwater. That's the end of it. The commissioner cannot look at whether the landfill is next to a hospital or across the street from your elementary school or right next to a beautiful residential subdivision. He can't consider it. I guess there was a she once, but they can't consider it. They have to ignore it. And so the state legislature was pummeled with this question of how do local people protect themselves? And the answer was this Jackson Law. So if you adopt it, you can be a city or you can be a county. But if you adopt it, you get first crack at whether you want this landfill or solid waste facility there. So some people think the Jackson Law only applies to landfills. Wrong. It also applies to solid waste facilities. And there's lots of different kinds. So in the last few years, there has been a lot of grumbling and talk about getting rid of the Jackson Law at the state legislative level. Why? Because the state giveth and the state taketh away. If the state gives a local governing body authority to do X, Y, and Z, they have it. If the state takes it away, you don't have it. It's a harsh reality about something I didn't even know about until I started practicing in Tennessee, because it never came up where I used to be. So, you want to preserve the Jackson Law if you are a local community. You probably don't if you are in a state position and you're out negotiating with big companies who are like, hey, what's the landfill situation there? You want to make representations. You want to be able to say, oh, we can take your special waste, we can do this, we can do that. They don't want to make a promise and then turn around and have the local government cut them off and go, nope, we're not doing that. So there's debate, and it's real. Is anyone here following the Solid Waste Advisory Task Force at the legislative that preceded this session? Anybody? Okay. Oh, very good. So you've probably heard them. One fellow recently said, this was I don't know, I think maybe November. It was before session started. But he said, I already have some amendments to the Jackson Law that I'm gonna be looking at. I've already drawn them up. That's not news, I've heard it before. Around that same time, a client of mine who sits on a Chamber of Commerce board, he intercepted and got something that was just about to go out, which I normally would never see. Chamber of Commerce talking about their priorities, and in it, they said, we gotta do something about our landfill shortage. So there's a lot of talk and rumbling about it. I cannot tell you with any certainty right now if a chapter bill has already been opened for the year, but even if it hasn't been, they are talking about it. So I raised some of these concerns very casually with Chair Waller. I'm sure I did not charge him for the time because I rarely charge for just calling and saying where's what, and I shared all of those things, little bits of them. I later hear that somehow a request to go to the county, from the county to go up to the legislature to say, hey, here in Loudon, we want to keep the Jackson Law. If y'all are talking about it, for our part, we want to keep it. Don't change it. That has been construed as something other than just that. I asked, is there a letter, is there a resolution that I can look at? And there's not one. So I don't know what all happened here. I can just tell you that from where my standpoint is, I have been a vocal advocate for the Jackson Law. I proudly helped get it passed in Nashville, and actually talked to one of the council members who misunderstood it, because it's a complicated rule. And she said, I'm voting against it. I said, why? She said, because it doesn't help me. I'm in a border district and the county next door can do what they want and it won't affect me and I can't do anything about it even if we have it. I said, you're wrong. I'm sorry to be rude, but you're wrong. There's a 1 mile radius. So 1 mile from your district over into the next county, you can have say about this. She's like, oh, I didn't know that. She changed her vote. Very important. So it's really easy to misunderstand the statute. As I said, I had to go all the way to the Supreme Court on an issue that I didn't think even merited that. But all I know is that if someone is going to send a message to the legislature, it probably should be, please do not mess with the Jackson Law. And if you're going to amend it, just maybe talk about solid waste disposal facilities, not landfills, because landfills create all kinds of big problems that never really go away. But all these new facilities that are coming online for, I mean, Eastman's got some new technology on plastics recycling, and I mean, all these companies have paraded in front of the Solid Waste Advisory Board, and I'm sure Ms. Hunter has seen some of it. They want a chance to get into communities, and they don't want to be shut down before they even get there. I understand that, and there's a place to make those modifications. I just don't think it should bleed over into the part about landfills, because the statute says new landfills and solid waste facilities. Any questions on that?
And just real quick, what we were trying to do was ask the mayor vote to send a letter to our state legislatures saying, please do not repeal the Jackson Law. That's all we were trying to do.
And what happened was, when it got put on an agenda, it got put on social media, and the first post was encouraging everybody to show up so we didn't adopt the Jackson Law. Well, 1995
May 1st,
is when we
1995.
adopted the Jackson Law. So, okay, the target has always been moving with these social media posts. So once these people found out, okay, well, they've already adopted it, then the narrative changed that it was some grand scheme
To adopt a new.
to adopt the new Jackson Law that was then we were gonna sell the landfill, and Monterey Mushroom was going out of business, they were gonna it just got crazy. And that's why we're here tonight, just want you all to know the facts.
One I happened to see today was, it was talking about the rezone, and it had the tax map and the parcels. And somebody posted that parcel 26 was Monterey Mushroom. So led to believe that the landfill was gonna buy Monterey Mushroom and expand the landfill. Alright. First of all, the tax map for Monterey Mushroom is 31, 39, 31, 47, or 49. Not even close to the numbers we were saying. And also, Monterey Mushroom sits inside the city of Loudon. So we couldn't rezone Monterey Mushroom to CFD because that belongs to the city of Loudon. We can't do that, but that was one of the things I read today,
And we
is that
wouldn't
was
do
our
that
big
either.
grand scheme. To Monterey to sell, rezone it to a landfill. Can't happen. So if you read that, please disregard. It's
Disregard
not
all of it.
possible.
So, yes,
So, if everything that you're saying is not true, according to the social media, then how did you get the idea that you guys are gonna have a landfill there? I mean,
a
where did that
landfill
come
where?
from? Where exit 72, whatever that is.
It's already there.
It's there?
It's already
It's there,
there.
but it's the expansion of it.
Yeah,
That was Okay. what.
that's what got this.
So will there be an expansion, yes or no?
So that's a complicated question.
Okay,
At the beginning of this, I said, I came into this after July of 2022.
okay.
That's an important date because that's when the contract had been signed to expand it. So the existing landfill had a contract to expand into 26 acres.
And we cannot reverse that.
Well, again, I wish things were that simple. I like the way you put it, but
Yeah.
we didn't do anything. But as I come in and we start looking at what this deal was and who's supposed to do what, it was a very confusing contract. I've been practicing for a very long time in a lot of different subjects. I've never seen anything like it.
Understood.
Okay? And I'm still reading it to understand it. It has all these bells and whistles. So then we get to, they want to do expansion. So then we start that process. And then Ms. Hunter rolls off the board, Mr. Wall comes on, and they're saying it's going to be 26 or 27 acres like the contract says. And there's some streams. I'm like, well, how's this going to work? You guys can't be in the 27 acres unless you get permits for the streams. They're like, oh yeah, we're going to make a smaller modification.
So we can't apply Jackson law to this extension?
To that extension,
Yes.
that was a question for the county, but it almost didn't matter because the contract had already been signed.
By whom?
The commission before
The previous solid
Solid
waste
waste.
commission.
2022
Not
Solid
here.
Waste Commission.
not the county, the commission. So they had agreed to this. It's not, even though the contract was highly unusual as far as the way it was set up, expansions are now the thing you get when you're like, no new landfills. You know, you make the new landfills hard to get, they want to expand the one they already have. And that's understandable, I get that. But when they went to expand it, first they gave it, there's two parts, so you do a part one and a part two. So the part one comes in, I had a lot of problems with it. And I was like, some of this just isn't true and the commission shouldn't sign anything that's not true. So wrangle, change. And it said, I think, the full acreage, okay? So then the part two comes along and suddenly it's shrunk down to 6 acres. And there was more back and forth, more discussion. And if anything, and I did file a complaint, which did not go out for service, but it is public record. And in the complaint, which was filed last fall, the commission took the position that Republic breached the contract that they made the commission, or got the commission negotiated to sign, because they were supposed to do 27 acres, but they did 6. So they left acreage on the table. And while I'm normally not a person to go, hey, you said you were gonna expand, there was a contract. And there are and you can see in that complaint, there are follow-on consequences to changing the game in the middle of the deal. Lots of follow-on consequences that are far too many to get into. And sorting through all those and figuring out which ones may affect the commission or may not affect the commission, or, you know, can you work with this? Can you live with this? Can you not live with this? It's a lot. And so there's been this ongoing process with Republic to say, you need to clean this up. You wanted to do it differently. This was all within your control. What's the plan? And we really don't have an answer to that.
Ms. Murphy, to make it very clear, the expansion is within the original footprint of the original landfill.
That is correct.
I mean, it took that as a piece of pie. They didn't run out here and start. It's from the 1989 or 90 footprint of the Matlock Bend landfill. They're just inside making another sale, if I understand correctly.
And how much time are you giving for them to respond?
Well,
I'm sorry, I don't.
no, you're asking very good questions, actually.
Sorry.
There's been different times for different things. So, for example, there was an issue that affected the expansion that had to do with a leachate line that we suspected might not be working the way it's supposed to, and it might have been damaged. And there was TDEC says we don't have to do anything, and I'm like, I don't know. And Chair Waller and our engineer were like, I think you need to do something. And you can go to court and fight about those things, but you need to bring leverage in meetings. And we successfully got them to do something that they had initially said, we're not going to do it. But it did take months. So that was, if you can't spot the technical problem, carry it through, and then insist on it, you're not probably going to get it. So anyway, there's a number of things like that. I wish it was simple enough to say expand or not expand. It's not like that. So we're still under that contractual issue, and I haven't gotten an answer to that quite yet. Yes.
Yeah, your point about how you found a leaching line and you got them to, I don't know if they did the inspection, but you at least got agreement that would be inspected. It sounds like maybe there are other inspections that are there other inspections that maybe warranted or have already been found to be, infractions?
There's a lot going on out there because it's an old landfill. And it was built a long time ago, and there's
History can vary a lot.
Every one of these this is a reason why I'm usually not the first one to advocate for landfills, because your infrastructure is where you cannot see it, your groundwater is underneath that, and as these things start to leak, they're just now, I'd say in the last 3 or 4 years, starting to realize that the list of contaminants that the state's like, go out there and check for this, not a great list. Not a great list.
Outdated.
Totally outdated. PFAS, not on the list. I don't know, there are 35,000 PFAS-related chemicals. None of them are on the list. None of them. And I had one case where Waste Management was saying, do your worst. And I kept saying, I think you've got aluminum here leaking. That's what I thought was the contaminant. TDEC doesn't require landfills to test for dissolved aluminum. At least at the time they would. I don't think they ever fixed that. So I had this problem where, that was the claim, but the state didn't have a rule. I did bring it up at a meeting once, and the former Office of General Counsel had interrupted me and shut me down in the middle of the meeting. So I kind of know what that feels like. I try not to do it. Anyway, so it's complicated. There's a lot that a community and government officials need to learn about these problems and see what they're signing up for. Because some of it, you gotta have landfills, it's necessary infrastructure. State legislators are 30 years behind in solving this problem. I would be yelling at my state legislators day and night about that subject, because they should have solved this, they should have had a statewide plan. They bumped it down to these regional boards and said, you guys do it. So the problem's all solved. We are 30 years behind other states, and can't even say how far we are behind other countries. So I have friends who are in this business and around the world are like, oh, Japan doesn't even have trash bins in their office buildings. What? So anyway, there's a lot to deal with. So I understand anyone complaining about my legal bills, but I can guarantee you, you're not being charged for a lot. But the game is to provide as many checks and securities as possible while still understanding that Republic has control of the site, design, construction, operation, but we share risk with them because we own the land and we own the permit. They run the place. It's not a great arrangement, doable, but at least the good side is you also have a measure of control. And it has been exercised. That leachate pipe was just a good example. and they've come around. They keep saying, hey, we understand we're all living in the same house here. Let's get along. And I've overcome some of my prejudices, and I think we've been working together pretty well.
I realize the purpose of this meeting was to help reset some of the perceptions and misinformation that went out. I don't know if there's other points that need to be addressed before that box is checked, but I would just like to, after that's been satisfied to your needs, I'd like to know how you recommend we proceed. You know,
On which,
well, I think
on which of 500 issues?
Yeah, so, well, that's obviously
Overall?
an enormous,
Okay,
yes. but
I'm sorry, I'm a micromanager, so I think
Hey,
in
no,
like,
I got
I'm
it.
sorry.
No, at a broad brush, in terms of, I think, just speaking for myself, you know, I wanna know, you know, what risk assessments have done, what environmental tests have been done. Obviously, you've done some of these, but some of the questions I came with is, how well has this thing been researched? And your points just in the age and the history and old contract, et cetera, just makes my risk register, you know, go, you know, a lot higher, but.
Okay, I think I got you. Okay, so one huge improvement is that Chair Weller brought in Chris Klein. So we have a local, independent engineer who can advise on technical issues. It is really not fair to ask a group of commissioners to both serve on the board and then suddenly become landfill experts. Too much, not fair. And I think, what do you guys get paid, like 12 cents per meeting or something like that?
And when she's saying commissioners,
Yes.
she's
I keep
referring
meaning
to
that.
solid waste commissioners.
Yes, important distinction.
Not
Not
us,
us.
other than that one down there.
I
Yes.
heard it's $1.
Just that one person. Thank
Because
you.
of the high dollar.
So they might make 20 cents. I don't know.
I don't know.
But anyway, so
So
the
this
engineer
guy,
is on, Chris
Chris,
Klein, and he's come to the meetings, and he, for example, gave a presentation on the leachate issue. He's prepared. When we have a question, we send it to him. We cannot completely micromanage Republic, nor should we. That's not our job. But that's been a huge improvement, and he's consistent, he's qualified, he's local-ish, you know, so that's all good. There are some issues that have come up that we're starting to try to strategize and figure out what's the best approach in dealing with Republic. It's a lot of carrot and stick stuff, and overall, we're waiting on them to, you know, land the plane where they feel like they want to land it.
I think one important thing for you to talk about is enforcement. That really comes from TDEC's side, and TDEC's out there every month to do their inspections. All the reports are found online. So we talk a little bit about the environmental enforcement. That's really TDEC's responsibility. We don't have hardly any enforcement capabilities in our agreement with Republic.
Right, that's been a big problem. Was the agreement that was signed back then had no enforcement capability. So there have been some discussions, and I think it's made clear that this needs to change soon. But you know, you talk about one thing and you're like, yeah, and then 3 more things come up, and then it's like, well, let's talk about all that. It's like, well, can I get the one thing? No. So we want to kind of get a comprehensive landing pad, but TDEC's job is enforcement. It's always been their job.
but they're 30 years behind.
Well, they're not necessarily 30 years
We
behind.
are.
The whole industry, the whole state mentality about how to deal with solid waste is 30 years behind. TDEC is understaffed. They cut the budget for them almost every session. I think that's ongoing. There's lots of challenges for TDEC. There's really good people there. Their engineering staff is quite good, but there's a limit, you know. And so TDEC's supposed to do the enforcement. We try to spot the things we think are important. Yeah, there are some issues, but it's an old landfill, and some of it's just what it is. So that all I can do is tell you we're on the job.
Go ahead.
Yes, I had a follow-up question related. You said basically the landfill permit is expanding 6 acres. Is that dependent upon the borrow pit being rezoned so that they can access a more?
No relation. That expansion was part of the reduced version of what they had contracted to do in 2022. And as far as TDEC is concerned, as long as representations were made that they had access to the borrow pit, which is in the contract, that's one of the things the commission had already signed up for, is to make the borrow spaces available. And as Ms. Hunter pointed out to me earlier tonight, and I'd completely forgotten, there's an exhibit to that contract that shows where the borrow areas are supposed to be.
So when they signed that, follow-up question, when they signed that agreement in 2022, the zoning was A1 on those parcels where they had anticipated getting the borrow pit, access to the borrow pit. Was the zoning already in place that required it to be CFD at that time?
No, I think the zoning that's there today has been there, correct?
Right, but CFD was created in 2025. It's a new class of zoning that the county adopted in 2025.
So I guess my last question would be, what would be the exposure if they were not able to access those borrow pits because of the zone, if the county commission didn't rezone that to CFD? What would be the exposure
And you could
Loudon
correct me if
County,
I'm wrong,
Loudon, and Lenore City?
but they have access to that land already, and they can use the borrow pits in A1. There's, they have to follow TDEC handbook, it's in their contract, and as long as the soil is suitable, they can use it already. Am I?
It's already been contracted for before I got here, before you just got here.
We were trying to put conditions into the rezone to force them to do some things, to access this dirt.
To make it better.
To make it better. We need to try to, we'll be here all night, we've established the landfill is nasty, it is dirty, and it's not perfect. We need to stay on the Jackson law. If we put that to bed, we could move to the rezone and keep this thing moving, okay?
Are there any questions about the Jackson law?
I have questions.
About the Jackson law?
Well, in a way, it is about the.
Are there any
Jackson law.
questions about the Jackson law?
Yes, it's related to the
Okay, then
Jackson
ask the
law,
Jackson law
Mr.
question.
Waller.
Thank you. You can sit from your chair.
No, I can't speak.
Oh.
I need a microphone. My name is Pat Hunter. I served on the Solid Waste Commission. I was the only no vote on this horrible second amendment, and I heard about the first contract. It was pretty bad too.
That was in '07, correct?
That was in '07, and the 2022 is no better. No enforcement whatsoever. My concern is the rezoning of the 98.6 acres. Now, it shows on the permit, I didn't realize it until I pulled it today and actually printed it, that the permit actually says that the fill acreage is 98.20, so it is in the permit. It didn't register till today. What concerns me is, although you offered some great suggestions, recommendations, what I worry about is that now it has to go from an A1, which is agriculture forestry, to CFD, Community Facilities District, more specifically sanitary landfill operations, subject to the approval from TDEC, solid waste disposal, subject to the approval of TDEC. These are in your planning regulations.
Pat, what's your question?
Excuse me, don't
No,
interrupt me.
No.
This is
My
our
question
decision,
is,
Ask a question.
the
What's the
regulations state, the regulations that they're looking at specifically say that no waste disposal site shall be approved if the site is located within 5 miles, air miles, of an existing operating waste disposal site. This requirement shall not prevent the expansion of an existing approved landfill operation. This is in your regulations. The other thing that it says is no waste disposal site shall be approved under this resolution unless such site is devoted exclusively to the disposal of waste generated within Loudon County. Now, this is what you're talking about in your rezone. We're talking about going from an A1 to a CFD, and you have to meet these requirements. These are your requirements. My question is, how are we going to meet these requirements if they're not in there? If you're asking to relocate the scale house and a wheelhouse with a minimum of 1,800 beyond the current paved road, it's not in the regulations, so we have to have a public agree to these. If you're asking for 2,000
That's what we were
additional
trying to do,
pavement,
Pat.
Yeah.
We were trying to get them to agree to that.
these items have not even been discussed at a solid waste commission meeting. How can you?
Do
get
you
them-
show, if I'm playing poker, me and you're playing poker, and I show you my hand, what good does that do?
I'm saying that if we're going to go and get a 98 acre parcel with not one but two borrow pits, two borrow pits. We're talking about 1,100,000 cubic yards of soil to operate the landfill. And we're talking about two, the larger one, the smaller one, and then we're also talking about a 50-foot berm, and what Klassen explained at the meeting that I was at, because I was asking questions, what about the stream? I think Larry asked about that.
Do you
Is
have,
it there would
is it
be-
another question?
Yes, the
Okay.
question is, how is this going to be rezoned if the regulations do not have those specific items to be approved? You cannot do it. And that is my concern, is that it's going to go for the rezoning commission, the planning commission, and yet there are no regulations to ensure that these borrow pits fit these regulations. Thank you.
Mr. Randolph, Mr. James, if I understand, I'm not on solid waste commission. I've heard more about landfills than I ever care to hear. But currently, they go in there and get their dirt, there's a 50-foot setback to the property lines. Is that correct?
Yes.
And what you were hoping to gain was a 200-foot
I
setback.
can reread the conditions.
I heard them at the last meeting. I don't know how many people here have heard what the goal was, what the solid waste commission was attempting to do.
There's some
No,
people here
what
that,
Commissioner Randolph was attempting to do as the county commissioner for the rezone. Solid waste has nothing to do with the rezone minus being the applicant because they own the property.
so, let me just run through these real quick for anybody that wasn't here at the last meeting. Like Commissioner Shaver had stated, that currently in A1, there's a 50-foot buffer off all surrounding property. We're pretty much under the opinion that they can go down there and get that dirt as is. We were trying to add these to help everything. A 400-foot buffer compliant with, I'm not gonna read all the compliant with, but of the zoning regulations along Highway 72. So 400-foot buffer off of Highway 72 rather than 50. A 200-foot buffer compliant of zoning resolution along the rear and side lots. So any property that they don't own, there would be a 200-foot buffer off of it. So there's a 310-foot wide strip of property, 1,050-foot long, touches Matlock Bend. A 200-foot buffer would cover all of that, 200 foot off the property owner on the right, 200 foot off the property owner on the left. Nothing could be done with it, but we took it several steps further in that. 2,000 foot of additional paving shall be added to the current paved road. Relocation of the scale house and wheel wash a minimum of 1,800 foot beyond the current paved road surface. The way those numbers came about, I actually went down there and wheeled it off to figure out where the location would be at the top of the hill. My opinion, I don't know if it would fully solve it, but it would sure limit the dirt on the Highway 72 if they're driving trucks out of there on 3,000 foot of paved road. Permitted use limitations. The sole and exclusive permitted use of the subject property now or at any time in the future shall be as a borrow pit serving the existing landfill facility only, meaning this rezone, there would never be trash put in it. They're gonna dig, ever what Pat said, 50 million cubic yards of dirt, whatever. No other permitted of the subject now or at any time in the future, whether principal, accessory, temporary, or incidental. So it is what it is. If it goes there, it's dirt. It will never be anything other than that.
Anything else?
Yeah, there's a bunch of else. Where's that paper? Oh, here it is. Highway 72 shall not be used to transport soils or other materials from the subject property. So they'll never dig dirt in the new borrow pit and take it anywhere besides in the landfill. There shall never be a vehicle or equipment access to the subject property from Matlock Bend Road, whether temporary or permanent. So never a road, never traffic. And we took it a step further than that.
So all traffic has to come on 72?
Yeah, they're not.
No, from the borrow pit, the soil would stay on site. It would never even access it.
I'm not talking about the soil, I'm talking
Well, yeah,
about the access.
the entrance to the landfill's on Highway 72,
Okay,
yes,
just
so
trying to
that's
clarify.
not gonna change.
Sorry.
The
okay.
existing
Thank you.
vegetation on the strip of land located on the subject property running from Matlock Bend Road to the top of the hill shall remain undisturbed and shall not be removed, cleared, thinned, or altered in any way. So they can't go down there and move a stick. So the strip of property going down to Matlock Bend will look like it does right now forever.
That was the hope.
That's the wish list, you know, that's what we were hoping for. My, thinking in writing these was to try to solve a few issues. Number one, that strip of property coming to Matlock Bend Road scares me, for the people that live down there, okay?
One thing Ms. Murphy and I have talked about, I may be out of order here. That 300 and some odd feet wide, 1,000 foot deep, isn't
It's
really,
roughly 7 acres is the
isn't
property.
really of any use to solid waste. So at the meeting on Thursday, I want to discuss subdividing that out and selling it as a residential lot. Selling the 7 acres to get it out of the landfill altogether and putting restrictions that it can't be subdivided, it could be one residential. So that is something I'm gonna discuss Thursday night and hopefully proceed with that and clear up any issues or concerns attaching to Matlock.
If that happened and it went to market, through solid waste, then, like Commissioner Waller said, there would be deed restrictions put on it, that it could never be subdivided and be, basically somebody could go down there and build one house. We can also put on that deed restriction, there never shall be access to any of the adjoining properties, you know, just to dot our i's, cross our t's.
I don't know how many people are here that live there and understand the geography you're talking about. I had no idea till we saw the map last time. Does everybody know this little strip he's talking about? It comes from up here in the landfill, it runs straight down and ties to Matlock Bend. It's just like a little finger of land, 7 acre finger of land. That's always been a concern for everybody since the landfill bought that property many, many years ago with the intent of borrow pit expansion. I mean, they bought property become available beside the landfill, they bought it. So you have this strip that goes right down this community, right down Matlock Bend, and that's always been a worry for a lot of people. Would someday they start running their trucks down here, or would they be bringing garbage in? So what they're talking about here is trying to completely eliminate that in one mean or the other, by selling it or by whatever means, and that the folks in Matlock Bend would no longer have to be concerned what's gonna happen in 10, 12, 15, 20 years from now about this 7 acre strip coming down into our neighborhood.
And if we're able to do that, it will stay zoned A1. I know that was some concerns of some neighbors that, you know, if that strip of property was zoned CDF then, or CFD, then it could lower property values. If we do what Commissioner Waller has stated, then we would be able to leave that zone A1.
How big is this whole project? I've heard 90-some acres here, I've heard a couple dozen here, I've heard a strip here. What's the whole kahuna that is really all of this discussion is speaking to? Because I've not heard anyone refer to the same acreage number, obviously, because there's different matters and issues. I realize that, but I'm just confused now as how big is the kahuna here?
The rezone for the borrow pit's 98 acres, okay? Well, then if we...
And that's 3 separate parcels of land owned by the
Three
solid waste
separate parcels of land, total of 98 acres. If you took out the 7 acres that we're talking about on Matlock Bend, and then you take out the 200-foot buffer that surrounds 3/4 of the property, and the 400-foot, I don't know that number.
Right, okay.
Significantly less, you know.
I was just wondering,
than 98
because I heard her brought up 98 from the, legal documents,
mean,
but I hadn't heard the number here.
They may
so
have
I-
around 70 usable, maybe, after that.
Pardon?
Maybe 70. It's just
The original landfill, the original footprint of the landfill.
The original footprint of the landfill, I think, is 47 acres.
I'm checking right now.
Give or take, it's
Adam's
always hard to
checking
tell.
right now.
And after the meeting, we've got a bunch of drawings.
I got a big map of it.
I've done a little, and I can try to explain what's happening.
Is there a list of what types of things can and cannot be deposited in this site of land?
That's a different story for a different day. We got to stay on the
Okay,
jack. We're gonna-
Please
we're
come to
gonna
the
be-
solid waste commission meeting.
Yes.
Well, I heard
You got-
solid waste, but then I heard landfill, and I don't know which
Okay.
is which.
I just have a two-part question. One is this is important to me too, because I live on Mount Loudon, but the Jackson Law, in your opinion, is there something detrimental to the environment or to us that we wouldn't want you all to write this letter? And, I mean, is there any reason why we would not want the
No, no,
this
you
thing
would
that you're
want-
trying to get done?
You would want the state legislators to hear from the community. We like having control over our
And
place
that's
here.
our goal for this
Yeah,
kind of discussion
yeah,
tonight,
please
to
preserve
try
it.
to push forward this letter to get us.
Yeah, I think it was a good idea, and I was surprised to hear there was controversy related to it, and I couldn't understand it. No, I would write the letter.
So you're saying.
I know another
nothing
community that's doing the
detrimental.
same thing, by the way. They're having the same conversation because they want,
Right, so we want to get that, that's what we wanna talk about, right, and getting it.
if your county
We
commission
have the
wants to
Jackson.
do that.
Yeah, we,
I know, but I'm saying, you guys want to put our name as Loudon County, saying we want legislation to keep this law.
Keep it in
Yes,
force.
absolutely.
Yes,
Leave it.
absolutely.
In my
That's our
opinion,
goal.
there's zero harm for sending the letter. There also may be zero benefit to doing either, but it will help our surrounding communities that don't have zoning the way we do. Our zoning is so strict and so tight, and we have these, checks and balances for, in my opinion, I don't think there will be another landfill ever come into
Oh,
Loudon
no.
County. Why would you come here and do business with us? We're not easy to do business with, for them, so.
There's
And
95
it may not
counties.
help, it's definitely not gonna hurt, but it could help somebody else by preserving it.
and one thing I look at is, we have zoning, but say we didn't have the zoning. We didn't have the Jackson Law. Your neighbor could come in and say, I'm gonna put a landfill right here. As long as the state of Tennessee approves it, there's nothing you can do about it. Am I correct?
That is 100% correct, and that is exactly why they wrote the
There,
law.
there's 95 counties in Tennessee, and half of those have no zoning. Monroe County has no zoning. I don't know if they've adopted the Jackson Law or not in Monroe County. But half the counties in this state are exposed to landfills if they have not adopted zoning and have not adopted the Jackson Law.
And let me ask if I understood this part right. All this discussion about the Jackson Law has nothing to do with Matlock being landfill. This has to do with new landfills trying to come in. Do I understand that correctly?
I don't think I got your question. I don't understand your question.
All the discussion about the Jackson Law and the importance to preserve it
Yes,
is to prevent, or at least give us the control, the Solid Waste Commission control over
No,
the
county
establishment. County Commission's control over establishment of a new landfill. The Jackson Law that was adopted in 1995 has nothing to do with the existing Matlock being landfill. It doesn't have regulations in it that address the existing landfill. That's in the form of a question.
are you asking me if the Jackson Law applies to Matlock Bend in any way that would address an expansion?
No,
You're not asking me that.
no.
Then
I am.
But you go ahead, answer him. I just didn't get the question, I'm sorry, it's a little past my bedtime. What, I didn't get your question, I'm so sorry.
Take hers, take
Okay,
hers.
sorry.
I shouldn't be asking.
Yeah.
What?
To your point, that is, this Matlock property, okay?
If they wanna
is-
expand next door.
That's, well, how does the Jackson Law, I don't know when this contract was signed with Matlock, et cetera, but how does the Jackson Law today, which we're saying, you're all saying it's a thumbs up, how does it apply to what they want to have happen at Matlock? Does any of it apply? It sounds like Van thinks none of it applies.
I think that.
Mine's a question. I don't know.
think
That's my
going forward,
question.
If you had a request for an expansion, the Jackson Law could be utilized by the commission.
It could be, there's a reasonable debate about this, and I know you're all gonna have to go talk to Brian Byers, cause I gave him a little thoughts on this, but there is a legitimate dispute about whether, and Matlock Bend's a great example, about whether the county could say, Jackson Law applies to anything off the 47 acres, because this was the original landfill. And if you get off of this, now you're into new land. The state law says one thing. The regulations that TDEC wrote somewhere in the 2010, 2012s, I guess, I don't know exactly what, they say something different. They use different language. The statute always trumps the regs. This came up in another matter that I had, and we put it in front of the solid waste board and said, you see, the state says one thing, state law says one thing, regs say something else. The regs talk about existing facilities. The state statute says something different, talks about new land and new landfills. So there is a bit of a dispute there. I'm not gonna resolve it tonight. You're gonna be bored, I guarantee it. But it is a legitimate question as to whether the Jackson Law could be employed by the city or by the county to say an expansion on any land outside of where y'all been, that's in existing permit footprint, is new land. I think that is a legitimate question. I cannot resolve it tonight, don't have the answer.
But
That's-
net, I'm sorry, go ahead.
That's what I was wondering about the rezone. And it sounds like the rezone would be to put more regulations or give us maybe more control. Conditions. But if that is rezoned to a different zoning, then is that considered new land?
New land in the statute is just defined as, it says new landfilling, and then in the next place where it says how is that defined, it says new land. And I don't think zoning comes into play there.
Okay.
I think it's just like, and because when you get your solid waste permit, it's based on the hydrogeo assessment that's done for the acreage you identify. So if you identified 50 acres, did your whole hydrogeo and said, well, we're gonna fill 40 inside of this, we need perimeter roads, blah, 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 blah. And then you go, oh, there's another 100 acres next door, we're gonna do that too. The state has no hydrogeo to work with off of that. So the argument has long been, well, yeah, you may be expanding laterally, but you're on new land and there's no hydrogeo, so the state's gotta start that process all over. So why wouldn't that trigger the Jackson Law? So that's part of the debate.
Logically, it sounds good, but we don't know because it's new territory.
Yeah, it's not, the question has not been answered, and I think I'm at the front of that as far as I've pushed it as
So
far as.
there's no precedence?
Correct, we do
Okay.
not have it, it is not settled.
Okay.
And the landfill industry has their opinion, TDEC has their opinion, because they don't really like the Jackson Law, and everyone else has got an opinion.
But as you move forward, and if you put all these regulations, and they don't agree to the resolution, all we have to do is vote no. They don't get the rezone. Just vote no.
That was kind of the plan
Yeah.
before it
Back
went
to the poker
crazy.
game, now that
Yeah,
it's,
yeah.
yeah,
But like I said earlier, we turned our poker hand to our opponent and go, here, this is what we got. Now what are you gonna do about it?
The current landfill footprint that's being filled, the old sections and the new expansion that was approved in 2022 is 151.94 acres. The three parcels that are being discussed for the rezone, because they're entitled to that dirt from the 22 contract, is 98 acres. The full 98 will not be used to borrow. That's just the size of the three parcels of land.
Did I hear 159?
151 is the current footprint.
But now half of that is almost already a closed sale. The functioning footprint.
Almost a closed sale?
It's a about half of it is a closed sale with grass on top of it and the bins out the top.
It's all done.
I'm just looking at this map right here and I'm strictly guessing, and I would say probably the other half is active. It's being used as dumping trash in.
No, not anywhere near that much. It's just not capped. It's not fully closed. Put into post closure.
I'm looking at dirt on the picture is what I'm looking at.
Yeah, on the permit, the closure discussion for the state, it keeps saying either 47 or 49 acres, which is representative of something active. So it's even smaller than the 150.
This gentleman right here.
Does the rezoning apply only to the borrow pit?
Yes.
That, it's just those parcels
Yeah.
that are in, that have.
So if it's just the borrow pit and it's not gonna be landfilled, you're not expanding the landfill, are you?
No.
That's not
Well,
on the table.
it's a debate, isn't it?
I mean, one day will they just say, well, there's a big pit there, we should probably put trash in it? I don't know. but that's not in this, it's not on the table now. The only takeaway I would want to add to this is, I admit I was a little late to getting caught up on some of this stuff, and I'm sorry about that. But everything I've learned in getting caught up is that the county commissioners seem to be trying to do what we're doing at the Solid Waste Commission, which is put every restriction, every proper control within our ability that does not violate the contract to create those safeguards and put them there while the ball keeps rolling, because we don't control this. But there seems to be a very good, solid, good faith effort to do all those things. And if that was not happening, I wouldn't have gotten up here and driven from Nashville. I would have said, y'all handle that, good luck. See ya.
Blake.
Mr. Vyers has a question.
Yeah, my question is, if it's rezoned to CFD, then it potentially could be, they dug all that dirt out of it, it could be a future landfill. Right now, with A1 agriculture, they can go out there and dig that dirt out, put it up there to cap that landfill, and it can never be a future landfill. I don't expect.
No, they could just ask for a rezone at that point as well. So there's nothing to stop
But if
you.
you don't vote on it, then.
But what's to say if that's 16, 20 years from now and none of us are here? That next commission could say, yeah, we're gonna put a landfill in there. So, see, we were trying to put the stipulations, we were trying to give them the CFD to put the stipulations on so that it only affected one area. And it helped everybody in that neighboring area. It wasn't like, I've heard people say that we're doing this just so they can expand it. No, we weren't. We were trying to fix your mud on the road, get more road, move stuff, have a bigger buffer so they could never touch that land. My thing is never touch the vegetation, because that somebody said, well, we can put a house on it. Do you really want a house on a hill that is gonna cause wash into your neighbors? So if we could have left that untouched, it would have been better.
The whole thing right now, A1, they could clear cut the whole strip of property going down to Mount Lock Bend. Take all the trees from it.
And that's what,
And I think, well, I was gonna say, I think, Brian, part of that was if they agreed to the stipulations and rezoned it, and with the stipulation, it says forever, ever in perpetuity for life, you can never put dirt in this facility.
Or trash.
Trash. So forever and ever. So with the A1, they could come back eventually when we're all gone or whoever and ask for that rezone. Would they get it? I don't know, but we were trying to cover that up front and say, never ever can you do this.
I'd like to say just one thing for my own edification in all this. When we started all this years ago, I think me and Van and Henry, we're the only three that started out together, and Betty, and it was monthly. Somebody here over the solid waste. Pat kept us up to date. I mean, she wore them contracts and stuff out, and once we got to see the contract that we had, it was horrendous. It was a terrible contract. The county got snookered. And we begged the Solid Waste Commission, do not re-sign the contract. Let it run out. Give us an opportunity to find somebody else to run it. So, before, and they knew, we were getting ready. One thing that we could do is, and what we're gonna do was replace the people on the solid waste. Even though it is a kind of a sacrosanct, it's one of the three in the county by Tennessee law that are, you can't tell them what to do. They, landfill, EDA, and 911 are all up there. So we begged, please just let it run out. Please let it run out. And I think one of the guys that helped them come to the decision that they did, I think he's works for Tellico Village now, but he was the attorney, but they met before we could act, did the contract, new contract, got on the fastest jet plane that could get them down to Memphis to turn it in. And once they did that, there was, legally nothing we could do. We didn't like it. We tried. I mean, Pat can tell me, it's been a monthly thing. The solid waste has been and then, and of course all that, it's a new owner bought out the other owner. So, we have the contract now that we didn't want the other one. This one's worse than it. We begged that commission to please don't sign it. Let it run out. Nobody will bid on it. We won't have a landfill. I never believed that for a minute. But I don't want you leaving here thinking that there's some folks up here that was actually planned. We fought against it. Like I said, it didn't do a whole lot of good, but it made us feel good. After they did that, we fired every one of them. And the attorney quit before we could get to him.
And I will tell you this, just to finish up with Bill's comments. June 1st, 2022, we had a special call meeting right here in the annex. We told the Solid Waste Commission our concerns. The attorney said he would be back to discuss it with us. They went, passed it, went 6-1. Pat was the one no. The original contract would have ended in 2027. It now goes to 2037, if I remember right. I might be off a year. But that's the story behind it. And before we could can the attorney, he quit.
And I just wanted, it kind of got, scared me a little bit when people were using the word commission.
Yeah.
Not this commission, that was the Solid Waste Commission. I said, and it is established by the state of Tennessee, Tennessee Code annotated, that everybody has to have one. And when you appoint them, they're appointed, we may appoint Rosemary and say, Rosemary, how about that? She don't have to do anything. That's an independent agency
So
that
you
operates.
can get rid of solid waste commission
Yep.
people?
Yeah, we've done that before.
Yeah, we got rid of all of them.
Oh, you did get rid of them?
We cleaned house. Like I said, the one that wanted the most quit before we
I
could
voted
get
no,
it.
and they got rid of me.
Huh?
Hey, another thing that's been
That's right.
what's been thrown out in social media, Loudon County, City of Loudon, or Lenore City owns a speck of dirt at that landfill. It is wholly owned by the Loudon County Solid Waste Commission. They're independent. They're almost like a little state of their own out there.
Well, wait. I think we have stakeholders that we have to answer to. And you are one of those, and so is Lenore City, and so is Loudon City.
But we don't own it.
But we have to answer to the stakeholders. We can't, there are many decisions we cannot make without coming to you and getting your vote from you. So we're not totally just out there being.
We felt the same way you did when we asked time and time again, please don't do this.
So, well, I mean, I don't
sign
know,
it.
I wasn't there then, I don't know, I
Yeah,
can't
well,
say.
I just wanted
So-
to
Those of you that don't know, Ms. Ross, serves on the solid waste.
Commission.
You're representative appointed from
So-
Lenore City, correct?
Pardon?
Appointed, by Lenore City
By Lenore
Council.
City.
Okay.
But what I do have a question, and it's not the Jackson law, it's about the rezone. Can I go to that now, or are we still?
Hey, we've got people that's been sitting and waiting.
Oh, I did not
signed
realize
up.
that, I'm sorry,
So
there's
I'm
my
gonna
map,
let
I
them,
can't see them.
The rule followers.
There you go.
Let's hear it from the rule follower.
Okay, sorry.
Go ahead, Blake.
I'm not quite sure I'm a rule follower, but,
No.
thank you. I will say that when the notice was put out about the town hall, and again, I appreciate you guys doing this, but there were no specifics about what the rules were as it related to the town hall. So therefore, I'm assuming since this commission had adopted Robert's Rules of Order, that that's what we'll be going by. So when, Ms. Hunter was called down earlier.
Can I,
Come on.
but before, this is our town hall, and it's, I can't say, it is an open meeting, and we invited everybody. But Chase gave rules that we were gonna follow. I mean, I don't think that, and we may have to follow Robert's Rule of Order. I don't know that, but this is just like a meeting for us. It's not the
It's not a county
commission
commission
meeting.
thing.
Yeah, this was just our meeting, so that we could help and answer questions that people had.
Right.
It's not like, and like he said in the beginning, it's a chance to ask questions. That's why I was telling Ms. Hunter to get to a question, is because we gave those rules first. I mean, this is just like us meeting out in the middle of town and having a meeting. Only thing, this one's televised or online.
Thank you for that. My first question is, it relates to our meeting on February the 2nd, where a lot of this got discussed previously. And during that meeting, it was hurtful to me because that meeting, actually Commissioner Randolph called it a crap show. It's a minute 49 of the meeting, if you want to go back and look at it.
That's accurate, go watch the meeting, most y'all will agree. Go ahead.
But the reason that I think you call it a crap show is because we have residents who were directly impacted by all of this. And they had legitimate concerns, whether we agreed with them, whether they were right or wrong, they had legitimate concerns. So to call it a crap show was a bit disrespectful. One of the things that were brought up was under A1 zoning, a borrow pit for sanitary landfill operations is not a permitted use. Is that correct? And I'll direct that at you.
I do not know the county zoning. I am not the person to ask. The county attorney is far greater authority on that. I would defer to him. Like I said, I'm a little late to pick it up. Asking for a rezone and what it goes to and what those conditions are, once you put the request in, then it goes to another place. And because Commissioner Waller is recused essentially, I've stayed to the side too. So I'm trying to play catch up here. I would ask Mr. Bowman. But I mean, you can read it for yourself. I mean,
Right, and I did from the state level, and at the state level, local zoning sufficing, it said that you're not allowed to do that under A1, and I won't bother Commissioner Waller with that. But a lot of this has to go with dirt, and most of you know, we just gave away hundreds of truckloads, Ms. Hunter knows better than I, of dirt from the new school. And I don't know where all it went, but why wasn't that dirt given to Santec for covering up the cells that they needed to cover up?
School board, solid waste. I mean, they could have offered, but they don't have to. You know,
anyone could call Santec and offer them dirt. That doesn't need to even go through the board.
Right, well, I know that property was originally contractually supposed to be given to the church as part of that agreement, but it looks like for whatever reason they chose not to take it. But it seems to me if there was an immediate need for dirt, that we would have used that dirt. So it sounds like we don't really have an answer to that one right now.
Well, I think, I heard, like I said, couldn't swear to it, wouldn't put my hand on the Bible, but some of that dirt was deemed unusable, and when they say, as far as that goes, is it has to meet compaction standards to be used in a landfill or anywhere else, that it has to be able to be compacted, and I'm just thinking that may be part of it, don't know.
And if it didn't meet the compaction standards at the new school, it wouldn't meet the compaction standards at the landfill.
It's a landfill, I mean, you're talking dirt for post-closure. I mean, that's.
All dirt
It's
is
dirt.
definitely not,
Yeah,
no, all dirt is not the
hey,
same. It's a-
TDEC says it has to meet specifications.
And
to
the
be
problem is
used.
we just don't know, because when we asked for the report at the school board, they didn't have it. So again, we're asking questions because we don't know the answers to them. And we're hoping at some point we'll be able to get that. I said all that because we had a similar situation to what we're facing now. In 2001, Tennessee Waste Movers petitioned the Loudon County Commission to expand landfill operations. After public hearings like this and expert testimony, the commission denied that request, citing negative economic impacts, harmful to property values, incompatibility with surrounding development, and impacts to tax revenues. That decision followed Tennessee Code annotated 68-211-704B, which required consideration of, and that's why we're here today, noise and odor impacts, effects on surrounding property values, and the economic impact on the county. I think those are legitimate questions to be asked. The residents who spoke on February 2nd raised these very concerns. It wasn't a crap show, it was people that were scared. They didn't know what was going on. A lot of them live in that area, and they were afraid that the potential impact on them was great. So they had some legitimate concerns. So for me, that it's really about, and I'll wrap it up with this. Most of you are probably familiar with House Bill 2134, correct? As it relates to sanitary landfills. in the state legislature right now before the Tennessee General Assembly, it would prohibit counties and municipalities from disposing of solid waste outside their territorial boundaries without a host community agreement for contracts entered into on or after July 1st, 2026. Depending on its final language, and I have the bill in front of me if anybody wants to see it, that legislation could directly affect landfill operations in Loudon County. Acting before we understood those consequences could potentially be irresponsible. Commissioner Jean said that, he was doing the poker hand thing, and now that we showed our hand, we're at a disadvantage. I would say it's completely opposite of that. There's a lot of things going on right now at the state level, and quite honestly at the local level, that tells us that we've got a better hand than what we think. So I don't think we're at a disadvantage, and if I'm wrong, please tell me.
My thing is, how many state laws go and never get passed, never get looked at, never move?
Well,
So,
and again, we don't know that.
Exactly, but we were trying to take care of now. That's what we were doing. I mean, you don't have to agree with me or not. We were trying to do what's best for Matlock Ben, Tennessee National, and even the businesses around that area. We were trying to help.
Right.
I mean,
And I truly appreciate that. What I will say is, and I'll sit down, is that was exactly what everyone was saying that tried to speak in front of the group on February the 2nd. They said, we want to make sure that everything that we do is going to protect us, the people in Tennessee National, the people in Lighthouse Point, the people in all these different areas that are directly affected by everything that's done. Every scoop of dirt that gets moved, they're directly affected by it. And when they look at their property values potentially being devalued, I think that's a legitimate concern.
I do not disagree. I mean,
Why we're here tonight.
I'm 5 miles from the landfill. It affects me.
But
I don't like it.
But I think a lot of the information that was coming out at our last meeting was a lot of wrong information.
Yes.
And
that's what the
got
crap
everything
show
going.
was.
That's what the issue was.
Well, but I hope that you guys have seen that when I come before this, I usually have my facts straight. And so when I do the research on like Tennessee bills, HB 2134, I've done my homework. And I'm willing to discuss it more, but I just ask for the respect of the people that they're not always here for nefarious reasons. They truly are scared to death about what can happen to them in the community.
Blake, can I ask you this?
Yes, sir.
Mr. I think the first guy was Chuck. The second guy that spoke was Brad. The only time we got was when the misinformation started coming out and was continued, even though, I mean, to me, it's like when I was a child, if you lied, my mom or dad would come to me and there was consequences. Today, there's no consequences for lying or telling the mistruths. So that's where I think that was. I'm gonna leave it at that.
Yeah, and where Mr. Coffey and his wife got up and spoke, I don't think they were trying to be mean. They were riled up, they absolutely were. But as he said, he had a piece of property and people around him had $1 million homes, $1 million properties. They're saying that they just wanted answers and they weren't getting them, they didn't see it.
I'll have a discussion with you after the meeting if you would like. About that issue.
Anytime.
So after this meeting, we'll talk.
Thank you, sir.
Quick question, who's carrying that bill that you mentioned? Who's sponsoring it?
I can look it up if you'd like.
I have it right here.
You got it? Okay, that's fine. I just wondered if you got it right.
Reeves.
Huh?
Reeves has it in the Senate, Terry has it in the House.
Terry and Reeves has a Senate bill.
Okay, yeah, I mean, that's the Murfreesboro situation, and Senator Reeves has been really getting an earful, very similar to all this conversation, because those people are farther down the pike dealing with all these problems, so he's under a lot of pressure trying to, get it regionalized and at least send messages. They don't get it passed, but that's interesting. I wasn't sure which
Just
bill
for
that
your
was.
reference, Reeves' bill in the Senate side is 2551.
Got it, thank you.
Yeah.
I encourage anybody that wasn't here February 2nd, go watch the meeting, you'll understand.
Chuck, I'm afraid to try your last name.
Yeah, Pete.
Pete.
Yeah, I think we've covered a lot of what I really started to had written down on my notes. But I do want to, first of all, applaud you guys for letting us have this time. It's like, Blake said, you know, we need to get our voices heard and kind of get an understanding. You did a wonderful job. I have no problem with the Jackson Law, and I truly believe it is to our benefit to have that in place and to support it. So there's no question about that. The discussion about the strip, the 300 by 1,000 foot strip connecting to the Matlock Bend Road. Mr. Wall, I would absolutely applaud if you could get that cut out, put it on the market, open market, that'd be wonderful. And that does protect the neighbors on Matlock Bend Road in a long-term way. So again, thank you for doing that. Yeah, our biggest concern, I think, is going forward, and I do think you guys, you're right. You have put together a plan, dealt with the hand you've got.
Chase put together the plan.
The hand that you've got, how do we manage this best with Republic? The old saying comes to my mind is, what would you attempt to do if you knew you could not fail? You made an illusion that possibly there's some leverage against whether the new 47, the other acreage, the 3 parcels,
98 acres.
98 acres. If that could allow the Jackson Law to be applied to that, meaning the borrow pits. So I guess our concern is, as residents, is trying to understand if the borrow pits are not allowed, what does that do to the landfill going forward?
Did you just say if the borrow pit's not allowed?
Yeah, if they were stopped, if they were not allowed, what would happen?
I want to be clear, under the existing contracts, they are entitled to the borrow pit, period, end of sentence. That deal was done before I got there, he got there.
So it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
It goes back to
You're
what
working,
you gotta put in play.
you're working with the hand you're dealt.
It does make some sense to use that as leverage. And I think that's something that we're trying to make sure we all kind of understand what these guys are, what their direction is. You guys have been held, like you said, I think we've all been held hostage to, not hostage, but it is kind of crazy that the Solid Waste Landfill Commission does not have any oversight. And I've read that.
I'm sorry, what did you just say?
It doesn't seem like the Solid Waste Commission has a lot of oversight. They are an autonomous group that can make their decisions.
Yeah.
Oh, oversight of the commission.
Right.
I just,
Is
the only
there
thing
anybody that can go to, like when they were able to sign that contract, renew that contract without anybody saying, no, you can't do that? Is that the way I understood that?
Something happened there that is not normal. I won't get into it, but I will tell you this. I think I'm hearing you, and I've tried to listen to a lot of people here. You actually have some good poker players in your government here. And I've dealt with a lot of levels of government in a lot of places. You have some pretty sharp poker players here. And I'm not a super great poker player, but I actually know this game really well. You have a lot of watchers on the wall. So as the game continues, I haven't seen anybody who's looking to, give it all away and just woo. I haven't seen that. You have good poker players here, and I think you're gonna have to just accept some level of trust. Thank you. That everyone's gonna play the best poker hand they can. I can only speak for myself and what I've done. I am 100% proud of every decision I've made so far, every move I've made, and so far nothing to complain about.
So who are the good poker players?
Yeah, good poker players here.
I would like to follow, I know tonight's focus has been Jackson Law and kind of oversight of what you guys have been thinking, how you're moving through this process with the landfill. But I do want to encourage everybody, all of us included, to become a part of how do we continue to follow this and move forward.
What can we do to?
And I know we're not here to talk about that. Like I said, I'm getting into the weeds maybe, but I do think we need to be talking about long-term, about closure plans. Right now we're saying the life is 2037, is that correct? Or that's the contract.
Yeah,
Well, what's the life of the landfill with this expansion? And I don't know that.
Come to some of the workshops. I think they don't have them as frequently because they're not that necessary, but there's stuff that can be happening in the spring. Now is really not the time. I don't mean to be selfish, but I did leave my hunting dog home alone. and I have 2.5 hours back.
Again, thanks for giving me.
Solid Waste Commission meets this coming Thursday in 2 days. We meet the third Thursday of every month, right here at 6 p.m.
Okay, very good.
Gentleman in the back.
I was just unclear earlier, so got a question about the rezoning. Is the land on Matlock Bend gonna be kept as a buffer, or is it gonna be a subdivision?
Oh, no.
Not a subdivision.
What I have theorized in my head is to shave off that 7 acres, 305,000, put a deed restriction of 1 residential unit, and sell it. The solid waste has no reason for it if we're never gonna use it. So I would much rather sell it, put the money in our coffers for rainy day for solid waste, and put a deed restriction of 1 residential unit on it.
And then maybe somebody wants to buy it and not do anything with it. There's 2 pieces of property that touch it. They may want to buy it and never touch it.
A resident's gonna wanna buy that piece of property?
You asked my question.
I wouldn't put a house there.
I'd like to see, you make an offer for it.
I'm happy up in my end of the county. I know where I live, so.
In that scenario, worst case scenario there is there's a house built.
Just.
That's it.
Well, but I mean, you may not be able to sell it, maybe there's something else you could do there, put in
That would be.
ground sensors or something to help monitor the pollution or something, I don't know, gotta do something with it.
Yeah, there's houses being built all along that bridge.
Yeah, there's a deer hunter somewhere.
Oh, yeah, somebody buy it just to hunt it.
In response to what that gentleman said right there about what can we do?
7.
You know, that company that owns that has way deeper pockets than Loudon County. We can't go head to head and outspend them and beat them. What we can do though is invest a little less money in good legal representation
Yes.
as a watchdog to make sure that what we do have to work with is adhered to, and that the people that live there are represented and taken care of. Now, I know, like I said, lawyer fees, my daughter's a lawyer, but, that's fine, but
Can't do without it.
you can't do that, but I'm just saying, do you wanna go ahead and bankrupt yourself trying to beat them head to head, or do you wanna hire a good attorney that's gonna be a watchdog for the contract and make sure that they're dotting their i's and crossing their t's and not straying outside the boundary out there and taking care of what they're supposed to?
I believe there's a realtor back here. Would there be any value to that land? Would someone wanna buy that 7 acres?
Absolutely.
Well, yeah.
Right next to a 100-acre,
Chuck wants to buy
treasure.
I've gotta call into my realtor right now.
Chase,
There's a house being built, there's a
I
house
can
being
buy it.
built right now.
Okay.
So you got another question?
When you get there,
I got another question. I got another question. We got another question right here.
let me answer his question. The answer is yes, this is a very marketable piece of property. The number one reason is the views of overlooking the Tennessee River. You do not, because again, it's with these buffer zones that we're talking about, or that they're talking about. That's one thing, but the second thing is the location of the borrow pits themselves, and I want to learn more about that later. Yes, you'll have a buffer zone, but they'll have specific areas marked for these borrow pits, which will be even further down. I did see one map that put it about 800 feet from the property line. So we'll see. And that lot may even be further. But to answer your question, yes, it'd be very marketable, beautiful views. There are already homes on that ridge line. There is one currently under construction now on that ridge line. So there, and Tennessee National is doing the exact same thing right down to the same bridge that Tennessee National is facing. So they've got homes that are close to the landfill. And they're always.
Okay, thank you.
Brian, got a question.
Chase?
I mean, we're gonna have to wrap it up, because Miss Murphy's got 2.5 hour drive. And
Thanks, sir, it won't take a couple of minutes. I've been coming to these solid waste meetings, and I know this don't pertain to the council here, to the county.
You've earned a letter for your jacket.
But half of these people, probably a handful of these people that's sitting in this audience today, I don't know them. That's the first time I've ever seen you. I've been coming to these meetings over 8 years, every third Thursday of the month. So I highly recommend you come to that. So that leads me to say, what most of you all do not know is it's been in talks with the Solid Waste Commission about the sale of the landfill, okay? So a lot of you people that's sitting in here hasn't heard about meeting with attorneys and meeting about the sale of the landfill. So if these words go to them, if it is sold to them, if it's CFD, that landfill's gonna, they can do what they want.
No, that's not true. That is not true at all.
Okay, let me say this, let's put this to bed, I'm done with the sale of the landfill, I'm not voting to sell the landfill, I've said that publicly February the 2nd meeting, I've said it to anybody else that wanted to know or didn't wanna know. Commissioner James,
I'm not selling the landfill.
Commissioner Whitfield,
We'll never
that's
vote
the
to sell
three,
the landfill.
that landfill sits in mine and Bill James' district, okay? You can throw a stone to Gary's district, okay? If it sat in Shaver's district or Henry's district, if they came to me and they said, no, the people around it do not want to sell it, I would honor their wishes. I would hope that this commission would honor our wishes. I'm not voting to sell that landfill, not today, if I'm reelected, not the next 4 years, ever, period.
And Brian, it would take this commission, but it would also
Ma'am, as long as I'm chair, I've claimed 1,000,000 times and people can't get it through their thick head. I will not even listen to an idea of selling a landfill until the North City approves it, the city of Loudon approves it, and Loudon County approves it. Solid Waste will not even entertain.
Could the Solid Waste Commission sell it without your approval?
No.
They entered into that contract with them without your approval.
No, but the two cities in the county are stakeholders. They may not own the property, but they are stakeholders, they have a say-so.
Yeah.
So until they all three agree, they can't, and as you know that
We can't agree with
you can't agree on some annexation stuff, so imagine trying to agree on selling the landfill.
Can you imagine, there's what, 50 people here? There'd be 500.
Oh.
And I'd be right there with you, yelling not to sell,
I
period.
thank you both for that, because that means a lot to me, from living down there past the landfill, 4 or 5 miles out past the landfill, it means a lot to me that you all wouldn't vote to sell it. But the only reason I brought it up because it had been brought up in a meeting by the chair, by Adam Waller.
Well,
And
Brian.
it had been brought up, that's the only reason I'm saying it is it had been brought up, and that's the only reason I'm gonna bring it up, so everybody.
And I haven't lived in, I've been in Loudon for 31 years, so the landfill there was there before I got here. But I've heard there's been talks about selling that landfill the month after it was opened. So,
I got you.
that's nothing
and
new.
one more thing about the zoning here, if there is no enforcement of the current contract, the mud.
Well, there goes again, Brian.
How will the local zoning regulations enforce the current regulation? And that's all I got to say about it, because I'm sitting back here taking notes, everybody talking, I'm just taking notes. So how, if they can't honor the current contract, how will the local zoning enforce the current regulation?
Well, to me, that's a little different, but that's, I started to say we, that's why solid waste pays their law.
Well, no, if there's conditions set on the rezone, those are enforced by that gentleman in the plaid shirt.
Yes.
And Bob, and our attorney Bob Bowman. Those are enforced by the county. They will have teeth from the.
I thought he was
conditional
just
zoning.
enforcement of the contract now. I thought that's what he was talking
No,
about.
are you talking about the conditions that'll be put on with the rezone?
Yes, and.
That'll be enforced by the county, the planning office, and the county attorney.
Because it's a zoning, CFD.
If nothing else came out of this meeting, I'm pretty sure you all can realize that Ms. Murphy is very good at her job. She is super intelligent and knows way more about landfills than I ever will or ever want to.
The least sexy job ever, ever.
It's not for sale, won't be sold.
And I want people to take from this meeting too, we're trying to do what's best for you all, because we live here too. I mean, it's not, we're out somewhere else coming in here trying, but this is our home.
He's been here 31 years, I've been here my entire life.
I mean,
I live a mile and a half from it. I want what's best for that landfill.
I live
want what's
over
best
on
for
the
everybody
other
around
side
it.
of the river, in the part of the county that everybody thinks is in Blount County, but it's not, it's in Loudon County. I live over there, but these folks that live down here,
But what happened to the
I live.
Loudon County Commission before you guys
We had,
signed it.
Solid
Were
waste,
they
solid waste committee.
Solid waste is
Solid waste.
Were they residents of Loudon?
Everybody
Yeah.
had to be resident.
They were residents, and they still,
That's a whole nother can of worms. We don't want to
we
try to
asked them,
discuss that.
we asked them, they found out what we were getting ready to do. And that was replace every one of them and fire the attorney. They had, it's kind of like that, world history when, the night of the long knives, when all that was done.
Come on, coach, it's
I
late.
mean, they met, wham, bam, signed that thing, jumped in a car, went to the airport, put it on a plane, and sent it to Memphis just as fast as they could that night.
Was FedEx.
Oh, thank you all,
Whatever.
thank you all for coming.
Dramatic
I
effect.
appreciate you.
If you all want to discuss this, I don't care to stay a little longer, so if you want to come up and
I'm
look.
not leaving, I just got.
I'd like a full overview of the footnotes.
Well, we got a list, we'll get out.
I got a map.
Well,